Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Eugene Honrath with Shadow Warriors, Meet the Maker, and we have Jon Yarum here. John, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good. So give me a little quick synopsis of who you are, where you're from, your background, kind of, your company name, and the products that you guys create.
All right. Like you said, I'm Jon Yarum. My company is D.I.Yarum, which is a play on D.I.Y, and then my last name. I'm currently living in Southern Maryland, California, Maryland. Um, my background, I was in the Army
Okay.
since high school. I got out a few years ago. Currently a contractor for the government, but on my off time as a hobby, I make stuff. So currently, my big things I make are pens and lanyard beads, but
Okay. Nice.
I
Well,
I do a lot of other products too. So
nice, nice. What are those products?
well, I build some furniture stuff. I build plaques, signs, like decor type things. I do knife scales.
Okay.
I'm working on eventually doing knives myself too, getting equipment for that. Looking around my shop trying to see. I think I do a lot of random stuff. That's why my name, it's the D.I.Y because it's just everything rather than like I didn't want to stick myself in one little hole.
Nice.
Some people told me to change my name to Yarum's Pens or something, but I don't just do pens. I don't want to do one thing. I want to do
Nice.
everything.
Okay, cool. Well, first, thank you very much for your service. We greatly
Thank
appreciate that, man. I know that's a lot to put your life on the line and be in the service, so we appreciate that.
thank you.
So tell me, when did your company start, or when did you start doing? I mean, we can, because this is kind of big. We can kind of talk about the inception of just building things, and then specifically hone in on the pens and the beads.
Hmm.
Tell me when you guys started.
Okay. I started my company, which is still an unofficial company, but last June I finished up a large cooler box. I don't know if you've seen those. They're like people build these wooden cases around a cooler,
Okay.
and then so, like a decorative cooler, so you put it on your deck. I finished one of those up for a friend, and I took a bunch of pictures of it, and I'd been playing around with the idea of making a website or something to put it out there that I like building stuff.
Yep.
And so when after I finished that and I took pictures, I was like, I'm going to use this as a jump off point. So I loaded them up. I came up with the name and I started a Facebook business page and put those pictures on there. And then I started loading up all the other previous projects I had done, mostly just for my wife, for my kids, or something like that. Started putting pictures of those to get an idea, and then slowly friends and coworkers started offering me project ideas or things they wanted me to build. And then in December, actually, it was right after Black Friday. It was Black Friday sale. I bought a set to make some pens, and I made one pen, sold it to a coworker right away. Then didn't make any pens for a few weeks, and then right before Christmas, I ended up getting some voodoo resins from Matt Peterson
Yep.
and made a couple pens for those, and things went off from there. I think the voodoo resins is what really kicked it off. It set my pens apart because he had just started getting into doing pen blanks because he had been doing mostly knife scales too. So I was one of the early pen people
Yep.
putting out products with voodoo resins. For people that aren't familiar, these are blocks of voodoo resins.
Nice.
They
And
come up.
what and tell me about that. What is that in there? Is that honeycomb, or what is that?
Yeah, it's an aluminum honeycomb. I believe it's used for aircraft primarily, but Matt he puts the resin in there, puts different colors and everything, does glow in the dark, different stuff like that. And then once I get a hold of it, I turn it into something like this.
Nice.
And so when it's round, it has a lot of unique features that honeycomb. So this one right here, this is one of my key products. It's a bolt action rifle pen. So it has the rifle clip, and then it's got the bolt action to bring the ink out. It's got the bullet tip and cap. So
Nice.
that's one of my big sellers. And then
And
I've got
are we talking about this past Christmas?
yes, yeah. It's really kicked off since then. My wait list is 6 months long, so things have really boomed. So here's a
Nice.
few of the beads I do. Those are the hold up, or I'll just hold up one. So this is a Slimer, which glows in the dark, also made from the voodoo resins. And one of the things I like doing is I put these thick tubes. This one's a copper one, and I just started doing stainless steel thick tubes too. So it gives a little accent point on the inside the bead around the lanyard. So
Nice. Oh, that's good. So is it just you?
yes, my wife does help occasionally, but the most she does is drill some holes in the resin. Occasionally she'll cut a piece here and there when I mark it, but she doesn't do any of the lathe work. She doesn't want to do any of that stuff. She doesn't help too often. Mostly if the kids go to bed, she'll ask me if I need anything, and if I've got a pile of resin that needs to be drilled, then I'll be like, yeah, you can do that. Then I can work on other stuff.
You asked.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. So would you say, I know that you do a lot of things, but you specialize in the pens and the beads?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
beads,
Those are my big sellers.
the beads look kind of difficult in terms of being so small and to be able to look so finished.
Yeah, yeah. Those I've played with the idea of making like not doing as many, as in like increasing price, just because they're a little bit more difficult, just based on they're smaller. It's basically the same thing I'm doing with the pens, but I have to do it smaller and a bunch of them. So but I like the price point where they're at, so I don't want to do that. They are a little bit more work.
What's the price point for the pen for
Um,
the beads while we're
usually,
on it?
what I've been doing, which is subject to change, but what I've been doing is I do a set of 3, which is 2 of the smaller beads and then 1 of the bigger beads. I do that set for $40.
Do you realize that that's obnoxious? That is obnoxiously low?
Oh, I thought you were going to say the other way.
No, because I can imagine what goes into that. So
Yeah.
to not know your prices until now, I thought you were going to say something completely different.
Well, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
I
is.
need to raise my prices. We'll edit that out later. I'm just kidding.
So tell me a little bit about what you think makes you and your company unique.
Well, one thing, like I said, I'm one of the big pushers on the voodoo resins. There's a few other voodoo resins pen guys out there, but I don't see a lot of other people doing too much with it. I really like voodoo resins. I've been pushing it a lot. That's probably 95% of my pens and beads are voodoo resins. I do also some acrylics, some wood, antler, but the voodoo resins is when my stuff really kicked off. I really appreciate all the help Matt's given me, helped me. I work with him on customizing sets and everything. But on top of that, I think, like you mentioned earlier, my attention to detail.
Yeah.
I really spend a lot of time trying to get these things polished as much as possible, try and get all the scratches out and everything. And I try and be unique too, as in I see other pen makers that they'll do 2 or 3 pen styles. I try and do as many as possible. I think right now I've done, I want to say probably 15 or 20 different pen styles, and I'm ordering new styles all the time, because the little parts, the metal parts on the ends, these I order as a set, because I don't have the ability yet to make my own. That's something in the works as well. But for right now, I ordered the metal parts. And so I've got, like I said, I think I've done probably 15, 20 different styles, and I just ordered a bunch more. Got a package in yesterday, different things. I'm not afraid to branch out, and I'll invest time and money in a new product or a new style.
Yep.
just to test it and see what people think. Which I don't see a lot of that from too many other people. Some people seem to they get in their one specialty and then stick with it. I like to do new things all the time. I don't want to stick to one specific thing if I can.
So this all branched, especially with the pens, branched from you making it for a coworker, and then it just kind of blossomed from there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, actually, I guess technically I had made one pen about 3 years ago at my daughter's preschool. They had a woodworking week where the the woman had an in-home daycare or preschool, and her husband was a high school shop teacher. And for a week when it was spring break at the high school, he brought a bunch of tools home and worked with the kids to build something.
Yep.
And on the last day, they all made a pen, and I volunteered to help him because 10 little kids working with a lathe is kind of dangerous. So
Yeah.
I came in, you know, especially because my daughter's one of those kids. So I came in to help, and he let me help the kids and stuff, but then he let me make one as well. So that was technically my first pen, and I really liked doing it. I made a terrible pen. But then, you know, a couple years later, I got a lot more experience with a lot of different things in general, you know, just making things. So that experience helped me out. And then I made the one pen, actually just made it, and then I brought it to work, and the first person that saw it, he's like, I want that. So yeah. I sold it right there. So then from there, it just, I got better and better, you know, kept working, kept trying different things.
Because they look polished and they look very clean, and I've heard only good things about them. Do you do custom work?
Mm-hmm. That's actually almost all I do right now. I'm just starting to try and build some inventory because I want to bring some stuff to Blade,
okay.
To, you know, trade people with or sell while I'm there, you know, when I meet a bunch of people.
Are you going to have a table or?
No, I'm just going to be meeting people, you know, like,
yeah.
But I almost all my stuff is custom requests. So like somebody will ask me for like that set of beads I showed you, the green ones.
Yep.
That's for somebody that wanted a set of 3 Slimer beads. And so not even like just me making like a custom request of that guy wanted Slimer from Voodoo Resins, but yeah. I'll even like, if someone doesn't know or they have a weird idea in their head for their colors, I'll talk with Matt Peterson and we'll come up with a custom color swirl or whatever we need to work with them. And then I also make like I said, I made that pallet cooler box, I made furniture, different stuff. So a lot of it is, it's not, I don't come with an idea, then I make it, then I sell it. Most of the time it's, someone asks me for something and then I sit and work with them and figure out what they want and then come up with colors or styles or whatever I have to.
Do you, and you're charging around the same price for that custom work as you are for any other of the work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you won't find that many places. So a little bit about the custom work. What's the craziest request you've received?
I had a buddy, I don't know if you're familiar with the show Doctor Who. It's a British sci-fi show. No. Anyways, it's about a time traveling alien, and he's got his time machine looks like an old 50s style police box from England. That these boxes that had a phone, and they would lock people up in there if they needed to. But that's what he time traveled in. And me and my friend are both fans of the show. And so he asked me to make a miniature version that's a nightstand. And I'll flip the camera real quick.
Oh, here we go. Exclusive right here.
Can you see it right there? That wooden box.
Yeah, over there to the right, straight ahead.
Yeah, I'll move closer real quick. This right here. That's as far as it ever got because it became a several-month project. All those little pieces right there are all the trim. So it became a huge ordeal, and it never ended up getting finished. I might finish it eventually, but he ended up telling me not to worry about it because he didn't even want it anymore because I told him all the work I was doing for it because the price I quoted him was $80, and it became hours. I think I have more than $80 just in supplies in that thing. So
oh my God.
He told me he didn't want me to do that much work for him at that low of a price, but he couldn't pay for more than that. So
yeah,
it was no big deal. I'll finish it one day and make it or keep it myself.
That's a good story. You could give it to your one of your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. So, I know you sell your items for money, but have you ever had anyone want to barter with you? I know that's pretty common. And what's the kind of either the weirdest or the strangest or something sticks out in your head in terms of barter?
Not really strange or weird, but I've had that's how I got my first Lucky 13 Donkey Punch was was a trade for some pens. So I know I like those. I got 3 of them now.
Nice,
So
nice.
My first one though was a trade for I think a couple pens and some beads or something like that, which is a nice trade because right now the aftermarket price of those things has gone through the roof. So
yeah, insane. Okay, that's cool. Now, what are some other things that kind of stand out with your company in terms of what you're doing over there? I mean, do you have fixed blades in mind? Like, have you started that process in learning, or is that just something that's going to be in the future?
Yeah, I've already got a 2x48 grinder that I picked up in an estate sale, and I gotta mount it to a table so it's got a place to sit. That was actually right behind that nightstand I was working on, and then I've been collecting files because that's like the big starting point for a lot of knife makers is start with some files or scrap metal or whatever, just to get some shapes down and stuff like that. But so I still need to get my grinder set up, which is, I don't have a lot of time because I have a long list of customers, like I said. So I try not to spend a lot of time in the workshop doing stuff for myself.
Yep.
I try to get customer orders done, but I need to, every once in a while do something for myself just to kind of get my mind fresh or whatever. So that's when I'll work on, project in here of like if I need a tool or I need to fix something or whatever. But yeah, I want to do some fixed blades. I'm not sure timeline though, because obviously first I got to get my equipment set up and then I got to practice and figure everything out and come up with some designs. So
nice.
It'll be a while.
So you said you have a 6-month wait. Where are you getting a majority of your customers? And kind of tell me about your customer base. Do you have a website? What are your social media links and kind of that after the 6-month wait?
Yeah, all my customers, besides a few friends and coworkers, locally, almost all of them are from Facebook, and it's primarily the EDC pages. We got Jen and the EDC for the people, by the people, Shadow Warriors, like all the EDC pages that I'm on. That's where almost all my customers come from because a pen is part of their everyday carry.
Yeah.
And so I started on Facebook, and that's primarily where I am. I started with a business page, but I like the group page format better. So I still have the business page, but I use my group mostly, which is facebook.com/groups/D.I.Yarum shop. And then I have an Instagram, which is D.I.Yarum. I'm not very good at Instagram yet. I'm still working on that. So, but those are my only 2 pages. People keep asking me for a website, and it's hard to build a website when all my stuff is so custom, because I sit down with every customer. It's probably an hour or 2 process sometimes, for coming up with, okay, which pen style do you want first, and which color and then which resin, all that stuff. So it's hard to do a website with drop downs and selecting when everything's custom. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely more mobile to do Facebook or Instagram or the combination. Mm-hmm. What do your pens run?
There's a huge variation. I think the cheapest one I want to say it's around $35 or $40. Up to I have one that no one's offered to buy it yet, but I have one sitting in my parts cabinet for $175. It's a really fancy fountain pen with a cap and everything. But my main ones, like the one I showed earlier, this one is 50, I think, or 55. I have to look. I have so many styles. I can't remember. Yeah, this one's about $55.
John. Very underpriced. And I haven't even held one of them. I think that what you're doing is amazing here. And if you haven't gotten on John's list, you need to get on it ASAP, because after this interview, I think those prices are going to go up. Nice. Hey, man, do you have anything else in, closing? Anything else you want to tell everyone about your company and what you're doing over there?
I don't think there's really anything else. I just really appreciate all the support I've gotten. Like I didn't even know really anything about EDC or any of these pages before a few months back, and then I found one and rolled from there. And people have been so welcoming, and I've gained a lot of friends that they help share my stuff. And when someone posts hey, I'm looking for a pen, I get like 4 or 5 tags like within a few minutes. So it's great that there's all this support and all my customers and everything. And I have over 600 people on my group page right now, which is awesome, since I just started that a couple months back. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody that's helped support me. And I want to thank you, for doing this interview. It's
Oh,
really awesome
absolutely.
of you to reach out.
Well, it was a great story, man. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully, this brings you some business and it gets your word out for your insanely inexpensive uh, items. I think it's pretty phenomenal. So, thank you so
Thanks.
much for being with us today, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.